At first glance, it sounds like nothing more than another internet urban legend. A game. A dare. A challenge meant to test your courage in the dead of night. But for those who have attempted it, the so-called midnight game is no mere child's play. It is a ritual steeped in ancient pagan practices, whispered about in forbidden texts, and warned against in occult circles. The rules are deceptively simple. But those who break them, those who fail to respect the game, speak of consequences worse than death. Tonight, we'll explore the disturbing truth behind the midnight game. Where it came from, how it's played, the chilling accounts of those who survived, and the horrifying silence of those who didn't. The legend traces back centuries, allegedly to pagan traditions in Europe, where criminals who defied the church were forced to perform the ritual as punishment. If they survived the night, their souls were spared. If they failed, their bodies were found the next morning, mutilated, drained, or worse, missing altogether. The rules are straightforward, but they feel less like a game and more like a contract. At exactly midnight, you write your full name on a piece of paper. Then, prick your finger and let a drop of blood stain the page. You place it before a wooden door, light a candle, and knock precisely 22 times. On the final knock, the door must open on the stroke of midnight. You then blow out the candle, close the door, and relight it immediately. From that moment on, the game begins. For the next 3 hours and 33 minutes, until exactly 3:33 a.m., you must wander your house with the candle in hand. Never stop moving. Never let the flame go out. And above all, never let the midnight man catch you. Those who break the rules describe what happens with a terror that lingers for years. Flickering shadows in the corner of their vision. Whispering voices calling their names. Claw marks appearing on walls, doors, and even on their skin. The candle flame sputtering as though someone, or something, were trying to snuff it out. And if the flame goes out completely? If you cannot relight it within 10 seconds? Witnesses claim you'll feel the midnight man standing inches behind you. Tall, thin, featureless. His cold breath on your neck. Some say he tears into your flesh. Others say he drags your soul into the darkness, leaving your body to collapse lifeless. For many, this is nothing more than creepypasta, an internet story designed to scare teenagers at sleepovers. But then, the testimonies began to surface. In 2011, a group of college students in Ohio attempted the midnight game for a YouTube challenge. Only 2 ever spoke about it afterward. They described the overwhelming dread that filled the room as they lit their candles. One swore he heard scratching at the windows even though they were on the 4th floor. Another reported his candle went out twice, yet when he tried to relight it, the matchbook was soaked as if dipped in water. Terrified, he broke the rules, flipping on the lights and hiding in a bathroom. He was found the next morning with deep scratches across his back, the door locked from the inside. That video never surfaced. Friends claimed it was destroyed, erased from their hard drives without explanation. Another report comes from a 14-year-old girl in Maine who played the game alone. At 2:47 a.m., her parents were awoken by the sound of her screams. They rushed to her room only to find the door locked from within. When they finally forced it open, their daughter was huddled in the corner, rocking back and forth. She wouldn't stop whispering, "He touched me. He touched me." To this day, she has never spoken about what she saw. Skeptics argue that the midnight game is nothing more than a psychological trick. That the rules themselves, wandering your house in darkness with only a candle for hours, prime the brain for hallucinations. That fear amplifies shadows, turns creaks into footsteps, makes whispers out of silence. And perhaps they're right. Perhaps the midnight game is just that, a test of human paranoia. But what about the physical evidence? The claw marks, the bruises, the sudden disappearances? In 2014, police in Indiana responded to a missing persons case after 3 teenagers vanished from a suburban home. The only clue was a half-burned candle and a piece of paper with 3 names written in blood. None of the teens were ever found. Occultists suggest the Midnight Man is no myth, but a true entity, an ancient demon bound by ritual, summoned by those foolish enough to invite him. They believe his purpose is not to kill, but to torment, to hunt, to feed on fear until dawn. Survivors describe the experience as feeling their very soul drained, their energy stripped away. Many report months of nightmares, shadowy figures following them, and a lingering sense that they were never truly alone again. What makes the ritual so terrifying is the rule that mirrors vampire lore. The entity cannot enter unless invited. But in this case, the invitation is voluntary. Every person who plays writes their name in blood and knocks 22 times. They open the door. They choose to let him in. Some theorists even argue the Midnight Game is not just superstition, but a form of summoning ritual disguised as entertainment. That every person who plays contributes energy to keeping the entity tethered to our world. With the internet's popularity, thousands have now attempted it. If true, this means the Midnight Man is stronger and hungrier than ever before. Still, the legend persists because fear itself is addictive. Teenagers dare each other. Paranormal thrill seekers push the boundaries. And every year, new stories appear on forums, Reddit, and obscure occult blogs. Always the same warnings. Always the same terror. The chilling truth is this: maybe the Midnight Game isn't real. Maybe it's just another internet hoax. But then again, maybe it is real, and the warnings are not just for dramatic effect, but desperate attempts to keep others from suffering the same fate. Because if you try it, if you're reckless enough to write your name in blood and open your door at midnight, one thing is certain: you won't be alone in your house that night. You'll feel the footsteps behind you. You'll hear the breath at your neck. And if your candle goes out, pray that you can relight it in time. For if the flame dies, so will you.